Arsenal Football Club have had some truly atrocious, diabolical, catastrophic footballers. So to name the top 5 worst Arsenal players of all time is a near impossible task. However, I have somehow managed to narrow it down to the 5 players who stand out against the rest, who are truly so egregious on the eye and abominable to the brain that they each tarnish the name of my beloved football club forevermore. But before we get into the top 5, I want to offer some honourable, or should I say dishonourable mentions. I simply cannot do this video without mentioning David Luiz. This bozo was so terrible that the very thought of him still gives me goosebumps. Genuinely, I've never seen a footballer look so lost on the football pitch. This guy joined us with over 10 years of experience, but has the worst defensive awareness I've ever seen. It took just 2 games for him to completely capitulate, pulling Salah's shirt in the box to give away a penalty, and then literally running past him to give him a free run at goal. What on earth is this? A few games later, he gave away this penalty against Watford, causing us to draw the game, before also taking out Abraham in the box against his former club to get a red card and a penalty. But this was all nothing compared to his performance against Manchester City, which may well be the worst performance in Premier League history. After Pablo Mari got injured, David Luiz had to come on just 20 minutes into the game, and with his first touch, he dropped the shoulder to send absolutely nobody. He then completely missed the flight of the ball and assisted Sterling to make it 1-0. But in the second half, it got even worse, as he misjudged the ball again and let Mahrez run past him, and took him down in the box for yet another penalty and a red card to round off the biggest bozo performance of all time. He would go on to give away his 5th penalty of the season against Watford, breaking the record for the most penalties given away by one player in a single season. However, he doesn't make the top 5 because he was astronomical in the FA Cup that season, helping us beat Man City and Chelsea at Wembley, and he was also pretty good in his second season, other than giving away another penalty and getting another red card away at Wolves. The second honourable mention goes to Aubameyang. After signing the contract, not normal Aubameyang, he was great. In the 2 seasons leading up to this, no player scored more Premier League goals than Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and he carried us to winning the FA Cup. However, there was one problem. His contract was expiring. Every single Arsenal fan was on their knees begging him to sign a new deal, and there was so much hype for it that the club did a whole live stream for him signing the contract. But after this, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang was never the same again. It was like the contract signed away all his footballing abilities, man. It was crazy. It took him 6 games to finally score his first goal after the new contract, a penalty against Manchester United, and he wouldn't score again until December. And even then, it wasn't a goal for us, it was an own goal for Burnley, meaning that in the first 11 games after the contract, he scored the same amount of goals for us and against us. He then managed to turn up late for the North London derby and got bullied out of the game against Liverpool by a centre-back partnership of Ozan Kabak and Nat Phillips. In the new season, we hoped he could kick on, and he actually started well with some important goals. But then he somehow managed to become even worse than before, costing us 3 goals in 1 game against Watford. Offside for this goal by Saka before missing a penalty, and then causing this Ødegaard goal to be offside as well. And followed this up with nefarious misses against Newcastle and Manchester United. His final touch for the club was a scandalous miss against Everton before he was exiled by the club for being late yet again. And the final honourable mention goes to Lack of Threat, Le Cardi B, Lacko Booty, Twerkazette, the cardiac arrest. This guy had bozo written all over him. I've seen guys call him the French Darren Ben, as if that's not a compliment. The amount of sleepless nights this guy gave me was crazy. When we signed him, we were gassed, because we finally had a striker who was going to take us back to the top level, and he was genuinely a very good player in his first couple seasons. In his second season, he was our player of the season, and his partnership with Aubameyang was scary. In the Europa League, he was clutch as well, taking us to the final. But this miss against Tottenham will always stick out to me. He nearly sent Wenger to an early grave. However, he made up for it, scoring so many great goals against them across his Arsenal career, and gave me some of my favourite moments as an Arsenal fan. But after his injury in 2019, he came back as a donkey. Guys will say his hold-up play was homosexual, but I prefer the term expressive. The way he'd used the circumference of his voluptuous arse to shield the ball was nothing short of sensational. I think he was suffering from some sort of cholesterol damage, unfortunately. Was that surely the only reason as to why he was never able to complete a 90-minute game? And I'll never forget when they made him look like a ballsack away at Newcastle. This miss against Slavia Prague is in my all-time and top 5 bozo moments. I'll never be able to explain how he missed this. He really tried to do the Suarez unnecessary finish and failed miserably. After Aubameyang was exiled, he became our only striker, and that's when it got really tragic, getting just 4 goals all season, and 2 of them were penalties. I would say that's shameful for an Arsenal number 9, but Gabriel Jesus has done that 2 seasons in a row now, so maybe it's just normal. But this was one of the worst striker seasons I think I will ever see, and it cost us top 4. Tottenham had Kane and Son, whilst we had Cardi B up top. However, it wasn't his fault we didn't sign a striker when he was clearly past it, and I still love him despite all the nightmares he's given me.
I'm talking wop, wop, wop.
Now those are 3 players who gave me countless trauma, but I still love them because they gave me even more great moments. Well, at least 2 of them did. But these next players, I'm afraid the same can't be said. Viewer discretion is advised because we are now entering the deep, dark pits of Arsenal history. So here are the top 5 worst Arsenal players of all time. Number 5, Nuno Tavares. Who remembers Nuno Tavares at Arsenal? Watching this bozo try to play football was a sight to behold. This guy actually had talent, but unfortunately he was just cursed with footballing dyslexia. I've never seen a footballer make so many brainless decisions in my life. On the ball, he was actually decent, and the way he would glide past players had some Arsenal fans fooled into thinking he was actually a competent footballer. But I've never seen a fullback so obsessed with shooting on their weak foot. I don't know what this guy expected to happen, but every time we saw him lining up a shot, we knew it was landing in Rosette's. defense. His technique is actually barbaric. And talking of barbaric, why the flip is this lad making love to his dogs? I remember being gassed when I saw him bully Trent here, but I think he must have been possessed by him like the Nike Switch advert, because who does he think he is playing a perfect pass to Diogo Jota? My jaw genuinely dropped to my knees watching this. I couldn't believe it. He also pulled off one of the biggest bozo performances of all time away at Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup third round, and managed to get himself hooked after just 30 minutes. It was truly remarkable how dreadful he was, and I've never seen anyone ever attempt this in a game before. I don't like slandering this guy because I actually liked him, but his performance against Manchester United probably best summed up his time at Arsenal. 2 minutes in, he scored his first competitive goal for the club, and then nearly broke his back trying to do a knee slide, but then he followed it up, getting torn absolutely ragged by Elanga for the rest of the game. He also gave away a penalty for handball, but fortunately Bruno Fernandes bottled it, and of course once again he smashed it with his weak foot into the stands. Obviously after one season Arteta had enough of him, and he's never played for the club again since. Hey yo, you absolute bozo! Why haven't you liked the video yet? Make sure to absolutely bukkake that like button, and subscribe whilst you're at it. Thank you. Number 4, Rob Holding. If you thought Nuno Tavares was bad, Robert Holding was sent from the depths of footballing hell to haunt Arsenal fans forever. This man is genuinely my sleep paralysis demon. Him and his receding hairline hide in the shadows of my room, reminding me of the 7 years of trauma forever etched into my memory. Whether it be the 4-3 against Liverpool, the 4-0 against Liverpool, the 4-2 against Forest, the 3-0 against Liverpool, the 2-1 against Everton, this bozo's emphatically deplorable defending had me on the verge of ending it all. There was even one time we went to the Etihad with him in the middle of our defense, and it went about as well as you would have expected. We conceded 5 flipping goals. This man earned a salary to be as useful as Mo Salah in a major final. How brain dead do you have to be to try and keep out a goal with your hand? Did he think we wouldn't notice or something? You're just gonna get a red card, bozo. And this confrontation was just like something out of a video game. Pure NPC defending. I beg of you, Omo, please just put in a flipping tackle. And then we went on to concede from it. But who can forget when he went head to head with Adama Traore?
He's built like a brick. Well, Holding.
In May 2022, we went away to our biggest rivals Tottenham in a head-to-head for a Champions League place. This was our biggest game in years, a chance to get back into the top 4. All we had to do was not lose, and we would be back in the big time. But Rob Holding had other ideas. This bozo spent the entire first half smashing into Son's shins, picking up a yellow card, before deciding to whack his forearm into his face, meaning this absolute wallad got sent off in the first half, as we went on to lose 3-0 and suffer yet another season without Champions League football. However, in the following season, he went one better, by costing us a Premier League title. With 11 games to go, we were 5 points clear at the top of the table, but William Saliba's injury meant Holding had to come in for it, and with this man in the team, we went on to bottle 2-0 leads against Liverpool and West Ham, draw 3-3 at home with bottom place Southampton, and then went away to our title challengers Man City in a game we could not lose. And in this game, Haaland bullied Rob Holding like something I've never seen before. This twink suffered all kinds of non-consensual atrocities in this game. It was wild. This was the humbling of humblings, bro. We had Rob Holding face to face with the treble winners. I thought it couldn't get any worse when we went 3-0 down, but then we came forward and got a consolation goal. And I promise you, I would have rather seen us lose 7-0 than this bozo be the guy who scores for us. It was like rubbing salt into circumcision wounds, man. It was peak. And then he had the audacity to wink. He winked at the camera at 3-1 down to our title rivals. And he was wearing the captain's armband. I want to cry tears of blood. This was the lowest of the flipping low. We went from conceding 0.9 goals a game with Saliba starting to 2.1 goals a game with Rob Holding. It's honestly bewildering that a player can be that bad. We were playing beautiful, orgasmic, phantasmagorical football, and he ruined it. It was all his fault. If not for this, we would have won the Premier League title. But instead, I have to suffer again and again and again the trauma of that treacherous season. After this season, he joined Crystal Palace, where he played a total of 1 game in all competitions across 18 months for them, and he wasn't even injured. A guy who wasn't good enough for Crystal flipping Palace was our starting centre-back in a title run. What the flip, dude? Number 3, Shkodran Mustafi. Just the very name Shkodran Mustafi sends shivers down my spine. This man was the devil himself incarnate as a football player. I want us to just sit back and deep the facts. We paid £35 million for the worst defender I've seen in my entire flipping life. I don't know where to start with this bozo. He used to make me dizzy watching him try to defend. He must have ADHD or something, because how do you lose concentration so flipping easily? Whenever a cross came into the front post, he was always there to make sure it ended in a goal for the opposition. I've never seen a player so reliable at being a literal donkey. He had the passing range of someone on the spectrum, and occasionally it would look like he was genuinely scared of the ball. I've never seen a footballer spend so much time on the floor. Watching this bozo play was like watching a slip and slide YouTube challenge, because he would literally fall over for no conceivable reason whatsoever. Like I'm talking all the flipping time, man. What's wrong with your limbs, bro? Every time a cross came into the box, it would go past him. He had no leadership skills whatsoever. I think he had the brain capacity of an actual discombobulated child. I don't even think he can read, if I'm honest. Sometimes I I think he was just making us lose on purpose. Like in the League Cup final, when he literally just stood still and let Aguero score. This man had no accountability. He would just complain to someone else after every mistake he made. And I genuinely believe it was easier to run past him than a literal mannequin. He wasn't just bad, he was an abominable mess of a footballer. I once heard that every person has 7 lights of wisdom. But for this bozo, clearly 6 are out, and the 7th one is flickering. There's no explanation for some of the calamities this man performs, other than him being riddled with an abundance of CTE. I could be here all flipping day showing you clips of this Olodo being a spasmoid. This game against Crystal Palace was the absolute worst. First he left Benteke completely open to score a header, then he left his man again for a corner, before, bro, I don't even have the flipping words for this. What are you doing, you undiscovered parasitic donkey? And then the audacity to blame the goalkeeper as well. I'm done with this, man. If I speak any more on Mustafi, I'm gonna have a brain aneurysm. So let's just end this segment here whilst we can. Number 2, Willian. When we signed Willian from Chelsea, everyone was mocking us for signing another old Chelsea player. But on his debut against Fulham, he looked to prove everyone wrong. He got 2 assists in this game, but the streets will remember 3 assists. Because realistically, who's gonna pretend this disguised pass to Lacazette wasn't on purpose? And the hype after this game was insane. We thought we'd rob Chelsea of a superstar. But newsflash, buddy, we had been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived by this Brazilian bozo. We all should have known this game wasn't real when we saw Robert Holding doing keepy up dribbles in the middle of the pitch, almost assisting Lacazette. And after this game, Willian went on to become potentially the most useless player I've ever seen at my football club. Every week it was actually painful when I saw him in the starting lineup. He had to be sabotaging on purpose, because how is it even possible to send the ball that high without it being intentional? And I still can't decide if this shot was even worse. In the same game, almost sending it out for a throw-in. It was tragic. To this day, I still have shell shock from this man's performances. I'll never forget when we needed a goal in a European semi-final and Arteta subbed off Aubameyang for flipping Willian.
You bring off Aubameyang and put up fucking Willian!
And this man is a habitual liar. After he signed for us, he said this:
I come to help.
But the only thing he helped was bleach sales, so I could cleanse my eyes of his conspicuous displays. It took him 9 months to score his first goal for us in his 37th and final game for the club, not including the next pre-season when he turned up looking like this. And I genuinely didn't believe it was possible for anyone to ever be worse than him. Until now. Number 1, Raheem Sterling. Never in my life have I seen a worse footballer at Arsenal Football Club than Raheem Sterling. After back-to-back title challenges, we decided this was the man to add to our attack and take us over the line. And do you know how many Premier League goals he has this season? 0. He might actually beat Willian's record. We got this guy on a loan, and I still feel like we've been scammed. It's insane. Even when we gave him a pity penalty against Girona, he still couldn't flip and score. He's genuinely the most egregious, atrocious, deplorable, grievous, heinous, intolerable, nefarious, scandalous, shocking, diabolical, outrageous, dreadful, shameful, abominable, mentally deficient, despicable, catastrophic bozo I've ever seen set foot on a football pitch. Some of the things this rasclop, bumperclop, big batty bozo does blows my mind. Honestly, with that big back, I reckon he wouldn't look out of place in the Women's League. And it says everything that Arteta would rather use Kieran Tierney, a washed left back, on the wing over Sterling. The fact we even signed him is just bizarre, man. We're such an unserious institution. He had been expired for about 3 years already. And fess up, which one of you bozos actually thought he'd be a good signing? Having Sterling in the starting 11 is like bringing a cow to war. He's so pointless. What do we have him here for? His performance against Leicester was the final straw for me. He was a whirlwind of trouble in this game. For his own flipping team. This bozo is dribbling like he has asthma, man. How do you even manage to tackle yourself in the box? Honestly, I'm just tired, man. His performances had me on my knees for Havertz and Martinelli to come back. And you guys already know how I feel about them. I'm not even sure what else there is to say other than he's just bad. And I think the worst thing is he had such a great career, but then came to Arsenal and he's been dreadful. Most of the other guys were just terrible players. But Sterling, he's supposed to be good. And I promise you, if we ever sign anyone from Chelsea ever again, I'm gonna go ballistic. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, share and subscribe, and comment who you think is the worst ever Arsenal player down below. I can't lie, I kept it pretty recent for the players in this video, but if you want me to dig deep into the archives, into the dark web of Arsenal bozos, then make sure to show your support on this video, and I will make a part 2 of the worst Arsenal players of all time, with some lesser known, more forgotten players. Well, at least I wish I could forget some of them.
Hey Gooners, it's Raheem here.
Hey Raheem, Gunnar here.